Year was goody, was goody. Back with another one because you know Raider Nation needed another one. Was goody. This is Raiders football. Your boy Year Jers in the building. What's happening? What's happening? Um, what's going on, y'all? What's going on? Uh, how y'all feeling today, man? How y'all feeling? We in the building. Uh, got a lot to talk about today. Got a lot to talk about today. A couple pressers. A couple pressers. We're gonna listen to. Um, like I said, I'll be doing that throughout training camp because there's always gonna be pressers and stuff like that. Um, definitely gonna keep talking about the Christian Wilkins situation. Even though he's not here no more, I still think we need to touch on that a little bit more. Um, you know what I'm saying? My bad. My little part about to come through. So, um, but yeah, like I said, you feel me? Shoot, I think it's something that's not being told, but I got a little bit of the scoop. So, matter of fact, I can play that also, so we all can know what's going on and shit like that. You feel me? So, um, so we're just gonna talk a little bit to my partner, get in here in that way. You know what I'm saying? So I've been hearing that Tyree Wilson is taking a lot of snaps at defensive tackle. But I've also heard from Vincent Bonsignor and I forgot his name, Benny Hill. Oh, that's not Benny Hill. Uh, let me see. Let me see. Yeah, I don't see how people is able to watch these stuff without getting copyrighted. Mm-hmm. Anyways, what's happening, y'all? Make sure y'all drop that like button on there. Hit that like button, man. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Really keeps the lights on over here, so we appreciate you. Um, let's see. Let me go back. Adam Hill, that's his name. So Adam Hill and they were talking about it. Um, and apparently, it's a lot of things that's going on that you really don't know. Um, so it's crazy. Yeah. Um, so um, let me see. I want to try to get to the presser. So it's the Raheem Mostart and P. Carroll presser that we're gonna watch. What did I put in with this one? But Pete said, Pete Carroll said that this is um Tyree Wilson's year. Like he had that conversation with him, like this is your year, and I believe that you can do this. So um, you know, Pete said it's up to him to take it over and stuff like that. So hold on one second now. You hear, bro? All right. Hey, I'll be right. 1 second. Give me 1 second. Gotta let my old boy in. Oh, the nigga like G fan, what's happening, bro? My bad. Shit, nigga. Yeah. They ain't gonna see. They might see.
I don't even care.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll take it.
you're. So
These are like the comments I'll pop up.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, G fan was in the but they probably pop back up. Yeah.
That's at 8.
Was it 8?
Yeah, that's at 8. It's a little over a quarter. Yeah. Like in the first much.
We rolling up on it.
I mean, I know you can do that, but when you talk about other shit, you feel?
I gotta get to work now. Alright, y'all. So, my bad. Um, that's all you guys listening to?
Yeah. Like the gas station, right? That's where I was at.
But my bad, y'all, for the. Oh, let me see. It's 20.
Nah, it's fine.
One.
Yeah. You've been stuck a lot in this motherfucker. Like, this bitch is like a wood.
Oh yeah, I know you're talking about. So, like I was saying, y'all, before I did real quick, not on record. Uh, Christian Wilkins' replacement is going to, well, Jonah Laulu, like I said, is starting. He's in that starting role. Um, it's for his to lose, and I think if Tyree Wilson fucking dominates, does what he got to do, it's curtain. He could take that spot because I could really see Tyree Wilson as a Mike like a Michael Bennett role in that. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's all good though. You feel me? But I knew it. Like I said, I knew that once that fucking video surfaced, they like, oh, you think this shit is a game? Okay. Well, guess what? Your ass gonna be goodbye. I see you later. You feel me? We'll see you on the other side. You hear me? So, and now Christian Wilkins filed for a grievance, but it's like, nigga, we told you to get the procedure. You didn't want to get the procedure. So we did what we had to do. What was best for us. You feel me? Like Pete said, bro. I got young guys in here that wants to, you know what I mean, that I can play. Like, you know what I'm saying? Um, so I believe Christian Wilkins, I mean not Christian, Tyree Wilson can take that leap, y'all, for real. You know, Pete raved about him. And to be honest, we haven't heard really nobody rave about him until today. So I think, you know what I'm saying? I think it's a plus. We headed in the right direction, y'all. Pete know what he want. Pete has a philosophy and a goal, and he gonna meet it. You know what I'm saying? Like he said, we're gonna win a bunch of games, and that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to win a bunch of games. 10-7 is the goal, bro. The man said it already. I haven't won under 10 games in over 20 years. So we gotta take this shit into consideration. You feel me? Goddamn. Me know all my shit. Me big ass dudes. Anyways, yeah. So, um, shit. I can't wait to see what Tyree Wilson does. This is why I can't wait till preseason starts, yo. Because when preseason starts, it's gonna be a wrap, yeah. You know what I'm saying? This shit's gonna be a wrap.
You were clips and all that on this group.
Yeah, I'm about to do. I try to do video time. I do like shorts.
You doing your copyright for this music?
No, that's my homie. Yeah, I got all my previous music. Even one. So, like I said, you gotta watch out for Tyree Wilson because I think he's gonna have a good year this year. And same situation too. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Same situation. You know, we had Chandler Jones, and he went off the meat rat and fucking went nuts. And what we had to do. You know what I'm saying? So. So,
You just doing it.
Um, so I look. I don't think we missed a beat. I mean, I don't think we missed anything with Christian Wilkins because he didn't play that much anyway. So at that point, it really don't matter, right? So, um,
Yeah, you got 12 now. Not one minute like that.
no, that's some over.
Yeah. And they were towing somebody's car and somebody in the car told them, yeah, like, oh,
So I'm gonna tell this shit. I mean, tell me that shit. I call the police and you're going.
hell no.
This
You
is
ain't get my car neither. Shit. I was like, well, might as well call
you touch my car again on the future.
them. Yeah, so I think you can bet in 9 time. You should be goddamn do like freestyle Fridays or Saturdays or something shit, bro. Just do something.
I'm about to play these pressers. That's why I was waiting on your ass.
Well,
I'll play these pressers because I ain't want.
I live goddamn like almost an hour away, bro.
No. What I'm saying is I'll wait. Like when I started like 16 years ago.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is I was waiting for you to do the pressers. So I had to, leave in the middle of the presser. You feel me?
Yeah, I got you.
Uh, yeah, we finna watch these pressers, y'all. Um, the presser with shit. Um, presser with Pete Carroll and Raheem Mostart. I think there's another presser too, but I gotta look for it. I gotta see what it is. I'm gonna get to that shit right after. But I'm telling you, Pete has a plan. And look, he gonna execute that plan no matter what. His stick what it do. Bro say you're would it function like my nigga, you know how it is. You know how I do, bro. So we talking about this Christian Wilkins situation, bro. And I'm hearing that Tyree Wilson is taking snaps at defensive tackle, and Jonah Laulu is now the starter. And I said that too. I said Jonah Laulu will be the starter. I heard that straight from Vincent Boxenor and Adam Hill. So so you need this one. I won't be able to go. You won't be able to listen to shit if I don't get my goddamn charger. you right there. All right. Can we get you?
I don't know if I got shot the fuck. Yeah. He trying to flip it. He got shot his own phone trying to flip the switch. He got shot.
Shit, lucky nobody was sitting here. You know what I'm saying? He shot somebody.
Oh, me.
Bro, see, low key, we gonna be solid in the trenches with Butler and Jonah at D tackle on bro. Not facts. That's facts. He said, I saw that Wilson. He said, I saw that Wilson about to go get hella snaps at D tackle. Low key, he pop off at D tackle on that. Nah, facts. He said, you ain't lying, bro. Like, I really think he got a shot to fucking. He can take over because if you cooking, Pete gonna give it to you. He gonna continue to cook. Feel me? So, Raider Paul in the building. What it do? He said, Raiders, yes sir. Yo, I heard a lot of shit that was going on though. We gonna get into it. We just gonna listen to a little bit of the podcast of Vincent Bonsignor and Adam Hill. You feel me? So let me pause this. And let me play this. I'm gonna play the presser first, and then I'm gonna play the what's the name. Put that over here. Put those stuff over here. You want to roll that up? You can.
I got you. I was gonna say.
Yeah, the tray right there. That's the bullshit I was talking about. Just put it down. I don't even want to see that shit.
My baby smoking on catnip.
Nigga, what? Nigga said catnip. You gotta chill. I
really appreciate that. I've been wearing these for some months.
Are they comfortable?
hey, y'all let me know if y'all can hear it. Sure. I don't want to get comfortable.
That's the advantage of New Vegas. You have to move from London. That's right. Pete obviously made a big move yesterday, releasing Christian Wilkins. Talk about the thought process that went into it, but also moving forward, how do you go about replacing that objective? Make our decision. And we watched our way through the whole thing. Keep really clear with what we said.
Hey, y'all let me know if y'all can hear this.
Return, and so we just had to move on.
Obviously, we won't talk specifics, but Chip is using, you got a lot of weapons on offense, and he's being extremely creative. How exciting is it for you, because you're known as a creative guy, to see what he's doing with your offense?
Yeah, matter of fact, you watch him as he starts each period, man. He sends a message about what's coming or what isn't coming to the defense. He's competing like crazy in it.
Not only
he has so much history, so much background, and he is a creative master. Now he's been that for years, all the way back to the Temple stuff that he did years ago that set everybody on their ear in football. He's just been that way. It's really fun, and we are feeling our guys. We are feeling the roles. We are feeling the opportunity to mix guys in and do the things they do really well. We're learning. You know, we've only been at it 3 days here now, but we're learning. But we already have a sense that we have something special going.
replacing Christian Wilkins, and how good do you feel about this young group of players?
This place is about competition. It always has been, and it's just wide open. And I don't need to talk about any names right now. I think the fact that if you watch the rotations and we're giving everybody a chance, mixing guys with the ones and the twos all the way throughout, just to gather a bunch of information. I went right back to cut-ups yesterday of the first 2 days, just watching each individual guy, and we're just putting the information in the vault here, and we'll figure it out in time. But we have a good young, spunky group of guys now, and the young guys that came in this past draft are part of that competition too. So it's exciting.
I've seen him do that a couple of years, and obviously out here, what do you see in that third year?
I think this is really his time. I think this is his time. He had a little bit of injury issue early on. Last year he made improvement. I'm counting on him to do stuff in a big way, and that's not. It's not just outside at end where he is a real natural. We're moving him around, trying to see what we can do, and working complement with our other rushers. But I'm really enthused about how he's shown his effort and his concern about doing things really hard and full speed and all that. So that's a really good sign. So he's a marvelous looking athlete.
It's very early. Are you happy with your rookies? Looks like they're really the effort's been.
Right now, we had 3 terrific days of practice. We really did. I mean, each one of them was everybody did everything they could. And this is the third day to finish his first rhythm of it, and this was probably our best practice. So the focus, and the intensity, and working to try to maximize these opportunities, because we're still in a controlled mode, no OTA kind of mode right now. I love what we've done in 3 days. Yeah, I told him right off the bat I want him to play inside. He's always been so instinctive and so aggressive and such a run-through guy. Been a fantastic blitzer over his time. So we want to put him in.
Talking about Jamal Adams, y'all.
He's jumped right into the will spot, and that gives us some flexibility that we're gonna grow with. He looks really good. He had a real serious injury a bit ago. He looks like he's back, and so weighing a little bit more than he was before. He fit just right. So I'm really anxious to see how he takes it.
He weigh more now.
You're already working with him. How valuable is that? You know him so well. Do you have any questions, by the way, before you get out of here? If you guys do.
Hey, can we just the space guys? Guys, we're on the podium a little bit.
What am I sweating? Go back. Ask the
You heard about working with Jamal before. How important is that?
It's really important. We made a big trade to get him because of who he is and the nature of his football style of play, aggressiveness, toughness, and his mentality is really unique. That's why we were so willing to go after him a while back. So to get a chance to get him back in our organization right now and kind of give him an opportunity to get back in flow of the kind of play he's capable of, I'm all over it. And it is because I know him really well and because I think the world of him. So his style of play is so suitable for what we're trying to do here about being aggressive and tough and all that. So,
he probably be our best linebacker, bro, for real.
What has Jonah Laulu shown you so far in the time people are working with?
Jonah hasn't done anything but the right stuff so far. I mean, he's been on it. I found him watching film, coming off the last season before we even got back together and all that. And I thought I saw some really good traits about him. And so I've been kind of in his corner the whole time, pushing him to be one of in the front line of this thing. And so far, he's shown us the flexibility to play different spots, which is good. He's playing really hard. He's playing really smart, and he's making a bid for us. So it's exciting.
Obviously, it's a different position, but do you see Jamal maybe as a Charles Haley, just a primary pass rusher, or do you think he can do all 3 downs at will?
No, I don't see him as a primary pass rusher. I think he's an instinctive guy that can do a lot of things. So we don't want to put him on, in any place that locks that down. So he'll be behind line of scrimmage and on the edge, moving around, just like our system calls for. And he might be a great fit for us. So we're going to give him a heck of a chance.
Coached against some of the greats in this game. When you see Max Crosby doing what he does out there, almost like it's a Super Bowl every rep.
Yeah, he truly is the epitome of what we're looking for in this program. And he doesn't just speak it; he does it. He's a monster on the offense every day. And I mentioned that every time he rushes, you have to be aware that you may have to duck on his speed rush. You may have to flush on his up and unders. He's just that big of a factor, and he's given DJ all he wants, and it's a great opportunity for him to work against a terrific football player. But his presence is really obvious, and it's not just passing it.
He over there working DJ Glaze,
his consistent intensity is really ideal.
He over there working DJ Glaze, bro.
since the time you coached Jamal previously to now? Like, what has changed about him, whether as a leader or as a player?
He's overcome
He about to
major
be on that
surgery,
move.
major injury.
That way, yes, sir.
I've had a couple guys that have gone through that, and it
Definitely
takes a couple
is, bro.
years. And so
That nigga
here
finna
we are.
cook.
So I know who he is, and I know what he brings, and I know what he's trying to accomplish and getting back going again. And we'll see what happens. But he's going to get a real shot, as is everybody. But I'm going to give him a real shot because I can imagine how much of a factor he can be on your defense if he's out there. So got a great spirit, great competitiveness about him. So, I mean, there's nothing I love more about in a player. That's why we went for him in such a big way before.
We saw season ticket holders on day one of camp, and then it was open to the public yesterday with hundreds of Raiders fans here. No fans today, but what has it been like just being immersed in Raider Nation for the first time?
We need more. Hey, the invitation's wide open. When we have our open days, let's get all of our people in there. I'm okay if we overflow it. Okay, we can have as many as we want. We can get in here. So the invitation's wide open, and we need it. It is a factor in our practice. It gives us a presence of there's people watching. We're never going to play a game where they're not going to be looking at us and watching us, put us on big TV looks and all that. I want them to feel that as much as possible. So it's great to have them. We need more.
So I can talk about Geno a little bit, and just it's the early stages of camp, but you also have the OTAs. Where's he in terms of comfort level with Chip's offense?
Well, first off, they're connecting. They're going shoulder to shoulder in this thing. We're really working hard with Geno because he has such good history. He's had so many principles and things that he's done that he's mastered. Those will be part of what we're doing as well as the stuff that Chips brings that's creative. Geno being here is such a positive factor for restarting this program. And not just because we were together and he extends the message. He is the message. He competes every single day, every step he takes. He's just the version of Max on the other side of the ball. And that kind of leadership, it's just obvious. I mean, you don't say he doesn't have to give any speeches or nothing. He just is.
What it do,
and so it's just a big factor in jumpstarting. And also when we're on the field, you see the plays day after day. He keeps making great plays, great throws, great decisions. Scramble one in today, and everybody realizes what we got. And so the D-line are looking to take care of him in the pass rush situations. They're trying to keep him fresh and not get in his way because we want him playing for us. So it's been a great start, and we're just getting going. There's just no hindrances at all. None.
Competition and energy has always been a big part of wherever you coached previously, but when you get a chance to reset and do something new for the first time, what are the biggest differences in terms of how you structure things and your message that maybe what you didn't see out of it?
Yeah, I was taught a long time ago that you either have a philosophy or you don't, and we have one. But the philosophy is affected by the people, and how they adapt to it and how they make it come to life and all that. And that's what this process. So my biggest challenge is to give them the ways that we believe we can play our football, but then let it become theirs. And so it's really a fun challenge, and it's why I'm so charged up. And I've been a little bit fired up since I've been here. I know that. I know you might have seen that or not. But each practice is an opportunity for us. Each day is a statement of who we are, what we're all about. Are we there again? Are we consistent? Are we battling? And so it's a coach's dream to have an opportunity like this, really. And so the fellas are responding in a way that's making it really fun. And we're going to get pads a couple days from now. We'll really start to bring it.
Looking forward to when pads come on.
It's a big statement for us to make that we're stepping out of the OTA mode and all of that, because the game is at the line of scrimmage and both sides of the football. And until we start knocking each other around and battling to make each other better, you really don't know where you are. And so we can only evaluate what we can. And we've, at this point, we're in great shape with understanding our players, but this is the next step. And so there's not that many padded days before we're playing, so we'll take advantage of every one of them and expect our guys to get after each other. They realize that it's the guy across from them that makes them. And so that understanding is to bring out the best in everybody. And so hopefully it'll be really fun to watch.
Yesterday, the guy says you have many excellence on and off the field. Was that sort of sending the message about the expectation that you guys have for this club?
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. We have extremely high expectations. I don't even know any other way to think. And I don't care what year it is or what team it is. It doesn't matter to me. I mean, this is either going for it or you're not. And we're going for it. And whatever that means at the end of it, we'll find out. But in the meantime, there is no standard that we can set high enough that we can't challenge for. And so we're going for it, like I said. And these guys are on board. They get it.
Something that I noticed is how much you kind of move around your defensive backs and kind of like a rotation of a lot of guys getting in there in the backfield. What do you believe is the intentionality behind that, kind of being an open competition? Who's the guys that you like?
We're gathering information really, and I want them to feel what I'm saying. This is, you either compete or you're not, and so I've got to give them the opportunity to show what they can do and who they are and how far along they've come. And I'm not afraid one bit of playing young guys. If rookies play, I'm fine with that. I haven't been doing that for years. That's a positive if that can happen. So we have to give those guys the opportunity to show themselves, and so that's really what it is. And if you notice, we're mixing everybody at all spots with that intention.
Right. Coach, you mentioned games are won in the trenches. What are your thoughts on Alex Kappa and Dylan Parham?
Well, both guys, as the question came up about the pads, we can't tell now. We can tell they know their assignments. We can tell they know their footwork and their steps. They're making their calls. But until we start knocking each other around, we won't really know. We need to feel their power. But they've done just positive things so far, so we're in good shape going into the padded days.
Last one, Adam. Coach, you brought Jermaine Pratt in pretty late in the process. Jermaine Pratt came in pretty late in the process. I guess everybody knows what he can do. He's a very accomplished player, but how is he in terms of picking up what you guys want from him?
Well, he was off to a good start first couple of days. He's got a hamstring a little bit tight, so we're just making sure that he can get to the fifth practice. Is really what we're doing. We'll give him this day off and then try to get him right back. He's instinctive. He's physical. The way we're playing him, the things we're asking him to do are right up his alley. And it's a pretty tough-looking group now. Pretty tough-looking group. Devin and what E-Rob brings and what Pratt brings and what we're seeing. Jamal has an opportunity to try to add. It's a physical, hard-hitting, hard-running group now. I'm really excited about that aspect of our defense.
Thank you. It's good.
Customize and save with Liberty Mutual.
So I'm gonna give you out what I thought about that. Raheem Mostart is next. I think it was he said everything, bro, that we needed to hear. You feel me? He talked about, we had to just go our own separate way. We watched the process, how the process turned out, and we felt like he wasn't the fit and for the long term, so they got rid of him. And we'll get more into that anyways, but he talked highly of Christian Wilkins. Tyree Wilson. He spoke highly of Jermaine Pratt and a couple guys. And I feel like I feel how Pete's feeling, bro. Like, I think we're gonna win this. We're gonna win this. We're gonna win a lot of games, and even when we lose, they're gonna feel like we won because how bad of a beating we're gonna give people. You feel me? So, and how physical we're gonna play. I also talked about Jamal Adams. Maybe starting at linebacker, my man, or playing at linebacker. You feel me? Like, he can play anywhere now. So that's another weapon for us. And I think he makes the 53. I think Jermaine Pratt, I think all them guys make it. He, like he said, we didn't miss a beat after OTAs, came right in, sharp, ready to go. You know what I'm saying? So, Pete believes in these guys. You know what I'm saying? And he wouldn't take on this type of challenge or type of team if he didn't believe that he can get the best out of these guys. You know what I'm saying? So sky's the limit for us, y'all. You feel me? Sky's the limit for us. I believe that, it's gonna be good, bro. Like, Pete's gonna coach his ass off, and this coaching staff's gonna coach their ass off to get these guys where they need to be. So I'm excited, and I can't wait though for that. I mean, so next person we got up is Raheem Mostart.
How you feeling so far the first couple days of training camp?
Feeling great. The body's adjusting to the training camp life, especially being out here. It's something that I'm not quite used to, but I sort of am. Being in Miami for the past 3 years, so the heat's not so much the problem. It's getting my breath in the altitude. That's the big thing. So it's been fun though.
We talk all the time about competition. That's kind of his buzzword and how it comes across in every position group. What's the competition been like among the running backs?
Yeah, no, it's been smooth, honestly. Everybody in the room, we all compete against each other, but we're all trying to maximize as many opportunities that we possibly can, and especially the younger guys in Ashton, right? I've been able to help him out in some of his reads and everything like that, and tell him, hey, look, you need to make a one cut instead of trying to jatter at the line of scrimmage, because that just slows your timing down with the O-line. So just little things like that, just trying to help not just him, but a lot of different guys, and they're helping me as well. Just understanding the vision of everything, and it's been fun. And the competition is always going to rise up. I always got to lead the room because I'm the older guy in the room. So it's been fun though.
That like being that veteran voice in the room, being that leader to the younger incoming players. Like I know you did that in Miami just with A-Chain, so now you have that gen team. How is that for you as a leader and veteran?
Honestly, I like the challenge. I feel like it's a way for me to display who I am as a player and as an individual, and also to showcase my abilities as being a leader. Right? You want to say you want to be a leader on the team, but for me, it's all about action. And this league is what have you done for me lately? That's the mantra that's always going around. So if I'm able to come in a situation like here and provide my leadership and my presence, and to show everybody that, hey, look, I'm gonna put in the work. You could learn from me. Just ask me questions. I'm an easygoing guy. I'm one of those guys that you can come up to and talk to about anything. And if you want to, keep it on the hush, that's fine with me too. I have a open door policy with my personality, as you guys will get to know. So it's a lot of fun, and just wanting to be there for those guys, because once my career is over with, I want to look back and be like, hey, I helped that guy out, and whether he took the advice or not, I did my part, and that's something that I got to look myself in the mirror at.
How real is the learning curve and pass blocking for rookies? It's something that's talked about all the time, but how real is that?
It's really real. The game, when you're in college, right, and me and Ashton talk about it, when you're in college, you have a lot of different things coming at you. The game's not as fast as like what it is in the NFL. And you have to slow down your thought process. You have to make sure you're reading all the defensive keys that allow you to, in response to whatever the defense is doing. So it's a challenge for guys, especially the young guys, but they're getting the hang of it. Especially this generation, they're picking it up just like that. So.
There's something that you learned when you were a rookie, or wish you knew when you were a rookie, that you've been able to kind of impose on these younger guys?
Yeah, one thing that I try to tell guys, even when looking back when I was a rookie, I had one guy that was a huge presence, Darren Sproles. I was with Chip and with the Eagles, and Darren Sproles was my mentor. He was a guy that I truly leaned on, and one of the things that he helped me out, with my growth, was that hey, look, you might not be the biggest, might not be the strongest or the fastest. Well, in my case, I am the fastest, right? But it's all about your heart and your want to, and your determination, and ultimately your goal. Once you're done playing the game, because this game's been going on for 100 years, right? And so what can you do to leave your legacy? And that was one of the messages that came across and hit me so hard. You know, if you start that foundation right now, it's just like building a house, right? You have to have a good foundation. If you can build that foundation as a young guy and work your way up and continue to showcase yourself each year, in and out every year, you know, that in itself is going to leave behind a good legacy. And that's something that I try to tell the young guys too. So, and they, like I said, they pick up on it.
How have you seen him change? What has it been like being back with him?
Yeah, no, it's honestly, it's kind of like a full circle moment for me. You know, I was with him at the Eagles, and then the following year I was with him at the Niners, and then we dispersed, but we always stayed in contact somehow, some way throughout those years. And now being back with him, you know, the offense is definitely completely different than what I was accustomed to, you know, some odd years later, but years ago. But honestly, man, it's cool to see the growth. It's cool to see, you know, what he can do within the offense, and then, you know, to have guys in this offense, you know, the O-line and even, I mean, Geno's just, you know, I've been a fan of Geno since way back, you know, because he's a guy that's been underestimated most of his career, and people didn't really see him as a starter, and then, you know, he blows up, and now he's with Seattle, with Pete, and, you know, all that combination. It's just it's inspiring in itself. And so to be able to have Chip and Geno and all these different pieces around, you know, and Brock and Michael and everybody else, man, it's a good feeling. I have a really strong feeling about this offense. You know, it's something that I haven't felt, you know, for quite some time. I mean, no disrespect to, you know, my previous employers, but, you know, just the camaraderie and being a first-year team is definitely something that's, you know, taking a huge still on.
Estimated bucket to me, an undrafted guy coming into the league, and obviously Chip gives you a chance right away. It seemed like you guys hit it off. Was he big in your career in that way, having a guy believe in you?
Yeah. I mean, obviously because he believed in me. You know, he gave me my opportunity, and I tried to make the most out of it. And, you know, I always bust his chops here and there. I'm like, hey, man, you know, you didn't really have to let me go. You know, I was really working my tail off, but nah, it's all fun, man. It's all, you know, it's just a part of the process, and that's something that, you know, as a player, that's what I want. You know, I want those tough times. I want to be able to look back and be like, hey, man, it was all worth it. You know, that was one of my biggest things as a player, is just looking back and being like, you know what, you put in the work, you did exactly what you needed to do, and people can't take that from you.
Ashton said that he hasn't had his foul moments just yet because the pads aren't up, but they're about to come on here in a few days. Yeah. What's the mentality like for a running back room? Physicality.
Yeah, I mean, you get better run reads. You know, that's a big thing. You get to showcase, you know, what you're here for. And, you know, me, I've been there and done that before. But I'm excited for Ashton. I'm excited for Sincere. I'm excited for Z. You know, some of the guys that, you know, get that opportunity and I get to see them in person. You know, it's going to be fun, and I can't wait because those pads do tell a lot. You know, when you put those pads on, you gotta really bring your stuff. You gotta really have that mentality and that attitude of want to. So it's going to be fun. I can't wait.
With that being said, how important is it, or what's most important for you right now in your running backs right now in this application?
Just getting used to the footwork. I think that's the biggest thing. Just getting used to the calls and understanding the assignment and the footwork. And then now when you get those pads on, you know, you got to squash all that out of the way because that should be routine now. Now when you get into the pads, it's more so about getting those fits. You know, having that mesh with your O-line, having that mesh with your quarterback. That's the most important thing.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate y'all.
All right, so that was the end of that.
Sparkle?
Right. I think Mostart was, you know, going to bring. I think he's going to be a huge addition to this offense. No other guy to teach and mentor Ashton Jeanty. There's no one better than Mostart who's going to teach Ashton Jeanty, you know, whatever he needs to know to succeed in the NFL, and to succeed this season. But he made a lot of valid points, you know what I'm saying? And I think it's a good thing, you know, being, you know, him playing, you know, Chip Kelly found him, brought him on to the Eagles. Then he played with him in the 49ers. He was the offensive coordinator there. Chip Kelly, that is. I just think, like I said, like he said, full circle type shit. You feel me? They're gonna be able. He kind of knows the style of Mostart now. After the coaching and stuff. So, I think that 1-2 punch with him and Gentry is gonna be crazy. And if we can do a third, I think Sincere McCormick will win that one. I think it'd be, Sincere McCormick get it there as that third. It do a state. But yeah, Mostart. It wasn't really much with Mostart. You know what I'm saying? Basically, he was just saying, how, he's open to, listening to what anybody got to say or whatever they want to do, or any advice they need. You feel me? So, so that was dope. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I think it's I think that was a dope presser. But we're gonna go to this other one. This one's a little long, but I'll just.
Director from Station Casinos, Chuck Esposito, in for his weekly segment.
To make our decision, right? And we watched our way through the whole thing. We're keeping really clear with what we said. I think there was no.
So this is Vincent Bonsignor and Adam Hill from the Las Vegas Review Journal. Yeah, this is their First and 10 podcast, and the question is who's going to replace Christian Wilkins. So here it is.
Path to his return, and so we just had to move on.
Welcome back, Raider Nation, to Vegas Station First and 10, your go-to for Raider news and analysis, and that was Pete Carroll talking about Christian Wilkins. Some breaking news, obviously, not necessarily breaking news that happened yesterday, but some explosive news, without question. We're breaking
since we talked to you guys 24 hours ago.
Right, like almost literally right after we filmed our last podcast. We're doing one a day here throughout training camp. Before we get to all of that, Christian Wilkins, Pete Carroll's comments about Christian Wilkins and the plan moving forward to replace him. Just want to remind everybody that Vegas Nation's podcasts, including First and 10, are brought to you by the Las Vegas Review Journal and Station Casinos STN Sports, and we thank them for all of their support. Well, by the way, I'm Vinny Bonsignor. I cover the Raiders for the Las Vegas Review Journal and Vegas Nation. To my right is my great colleague and friend, Adam Hill. He also covers the Raiders and everything else in Las Vegas for the Review Journal and Vegas Nation. Not surprised. I guess let's just backtrack first of all. If you have not been tuning in, maybe you were working the late shift last night and are waking up to this, or whatever the case might be, the Raiders released Christian Wilkins, their high-priced defensive tackle that they signed last March to a 4-year, $110 million. It included 82 and change million in full guarantees. We'll get to that part of it in one sec. But Pete Carroll, who we just heard, kind of explaining the decision and the thought process, didn't get into too many details, but the bottom line is there was an impasse, there was a disagreement on how to move forward from in the rehab of Christian Wilkins surgically repaired the Jones fracture that he suffered in his foot. Long story short, the Raiders believe he needed another procedure. Christian Wilkins, for whatever reason, disagrees. He got to training camp last week, was put on the PUP list. Usually that's designated for players that are unable to pass a physical and are unable to be cleared to practice. I don't know that he did or didn't pass a physical, but you would suspect that that played into it. The Raiders decided, you know what?
We'll find out. If he signed somewhere else, I think we'll find out if he can pass a physical or not. That'll be the next step of this.
Right, exactly. the other part of this, the other pertinent part of this, not only are the Raiders cutting a player that they were counting on pretty big time, whether it was last year or this year or moving forward, they're also trying to void the remaining guaranteed portion of his contract, which adds up to just over $35 million. That includes this year's salary, $8 million, next year's salary, which was guaranteed for injury, and then also became fully guaranteed the second day of the new league year last March. That was just over $25 million. There's also some roster bonuses and things like that that are looming ahead. But the long story short is they're trying to get out from that guaranteed contract, arguing, and the argument will be made, that he's just basically not doing the things they feel is necessary to get back on the field, and that's their grievance with him. He's filed a grievance to the Players Association. That'll all get sorted out. But I guess initially, your thoughts, Adam Hill, on the significance of the loss that this is, and then B, how do you go about replacing the projected numbers that Christian Wilkins was expected to produce this year, knowing that he only played 5 games, had 11 solo tackles and 2 sacks last year, so it's not this big, massive hole. You're not replacing Max Crosby right now.
Yeah, it's what you expected. Right? It just never happened. And I was going back through last night. Some of the quotes from Christian Wilkins when he signed, some of the quotes from the team when they signed Christian Wilkins, of having this great pairing with Max Crosby for years to come. And they won exactly 1 game together.
Yeah, we saw a glimpse.
1 game.
We saw a glimpse last year in training camp of what it could look like.
Sure.
It was pretty impressive, at least in training camp. And a lot of that, as Pete Carroll likes to refer to this phase of training camp, the OTA version of it, which means no pads. So you put it in perspective, but it did look good. It looked explosive, but they got 5 games out of it and 1 win, as Adam talked about. So it's not like, this is this long-standing player with the Raiders who now they suddenly and out of nowhere have to replace this massive production.
By the way, if you're thinking they won 2 games with Christian Wilkins, you're right. Max missed one of those. It was only 1 game that they won together. But yeah, look, what you're replacing is the concept of what could have been.
Exactly.
Like, you're not actually replacing a guy that was out on the field or contributing a lot, or a guy that you had seen at all through OTAs or minicamp, right? I mean,
so they're talking about the Christian Wilkins situation, and yes, they're definitely right. It ain't like we're replacing somebody who played all 17 games for us. No, he only played 5 games, and that was that. And he only played 1 game with Max, and he played 0 games with Kuntz. So, like they were saying, Jonah Laulu, that's what I've been saying. I feel like he started last year for Christian Wilkins when he got out, and I'm saying it again. He's basically starting again at that spot, and now they have Tyree Wilson taking reps at defensive tackle also, as well as defensive end. But if he shines at defensive tackle, they're just gonna keep him there, and that's where he's gonna be. And shit, why not? Let him pack on some more pounds throughout the season. You know what I'm saying? He could be fucking disruptive like crazy. So, yeah, but that's what they're talking about right now.
if you're looking at how are they going to replace this, well, we've already seen it. They've not had him. They didn't have him the last 12 games of last year. They didn't have him through OTAs. They didn't have him minicamp. They haven't had him at training camp. So what we've seen is just what it's going to be. I think when we're watching practices, you're saying, oh, what's it going to look like when Christian Wilkins is in there? Well, you're just not going to see him now. So it is a guy like Jonah Laulu, who everybody has raved about all through the offseason. Now takes that next step, and it's kind of his job, at least for now. I mean, we're still going to see.
Let me pause it. Then I've been saying that shit, right? I've been saying this shit for like the past couple of days. He started from last year. You know what I'm saying? He came in, was a starter last year, came in for Christian Wilkins, and he's going to do it again, and he's going to be even better this year. So, and Christian and Tyree Wilson going to be at defensive tackle too. So keep in mind in that.
Moving and shaking along the depth chart, but for right now, he is the guy. He was going to be the guy in place of the guy.
Yeah.
Now he's the guy. So that's how you move forward with that. I think from a practical standpoint, what this is a team, especially a new regime, comes in, doesn't have the same relationship with a player. They didn't seem to ever really get on the right wavelength together, and so they have moved on. I think the plain and simple fact is they've cut Christian Wilkins. End of story. That's done. He's moved on. Now, this is a much bigger story and all the other things that go on along this, but the plain and simple matter is he's gone. He wasn't here. He's not going to be here, and they're right with that. But the ramifications of what happens with the guaranteed money, are they able to get it back? What happens with the salary cap implications potentially of how that could play out? That still remains to be seen. A lot's going to have to do with what happens with the hearings. And by the way, Christian Wilkins, side note, the player rep to the NFLPA for the Raiders, which will not be the case anymore. They're going to have to find somebody else to do that. Yeah. But the battle between the NFLPA and Christian Wilkins against the Raiders will be an interesting one to play out, and it's the first big challenge of the NFLPA since losing their leadership. I mean, you lose J.C. Treader, you lose Lloyd Howell at the top of the NFLPA. To me, this is one of the biggest stories in sports right now, but we're going to see the NFLPA stuff, not the Christian Wilkins stuff necessarily, but we're going to see how this plays out. Now, somebody did reach out from the NFLPA and told me, hey, by the way, it's going to be lawyers that have been there in place. Yeah. Like, it's guys that have been around. It's not like new people. Like, yeah, of course. But it is a test of the leadership to see how they handle this, how they move forward. Like, these are all the massive, massive intriguing storylines to me, the periphery stuff. But for Raiders fans, for you guys listening who just care about what happens on the field, it's not like it doesn't change much. It just already is what it is. Yeah. You just don't have that. You don't have that kind of carrot dangling out of like everybody's like, oh, when Christian Wilkins gets here, it's no longer here. So they're dealing with what they've dealt with for the last 5 months of last year and all of this season. And to further your point, I was speaking to somebody last night about this who runs his own team, and he's like, it's going to be a fascinating grievance, and to see how that all kind of gets sorted out. You would imagine the lengths that the Raiders have, the lengths that they've gone to do this, that they're pretty secure in their position in terms of winning, or maybe this is just a Hail Mary saying we're just going to try. They wanted to move on anyway. Let's hope. Exactly. So it's either they feel pretty good that they're going to win this, or hey, what do we have to lose? It's a massive test of the meaning of the word guarantee. Yeah, and for sure. If we want to get into that for 1 second, and Adam's been we literally talked about guarantees, contracts a couple of episodes ago, and to kind of explain the situation and how it pertains to Christian Wilkins' contract. When you look at 4 years, $110 million, throw out the $110 million, that would have only happened had he played throughout the course of the contract and met every incentive, all those types of things. So that's, the likelihood of that happening, not bad if you stay healthy, but not always going to come to fruition. But take that out of it and get to the real nuts and bolts of it, and that was the $82 million and change that was guaranteed at signing. Part of which included, as I mentioned earlier, next year's salary, the 2026 salary, which was just over $25 million. That was guaranteed for injury at signing, which means that at any point between the actual signing in 2024, March of 2024, and 2026, if Christian Wilkins had gotten hurt in any sort of a way on the football field, obviously, where he could not pass the physical, couldn't play football anymore, he was guaranteed that money. Okay, so number one, that was the injury guarantee. And then number two, that then became fully guaranteed, injury or otherwise, the second day of the new league year, which was about March 17th-ish or something like that. Okay, so those are two different types of guarantees, but he was on the roster in March. They were able to, or that $25 million in 2026 became fully guaranteed, injury or otherwise. Here's what the Raiders are going to argue, apparently, is that, okay, but there's also stipulations that you have to adhere in terms of the health and whatever recovery might be required for whatever injury you might suffer. You have an obligation to adhere to a recovery process that we feel is necessary. And so they're arguing that he went against that or declined to do it and wasn't doing things in a manner that they felt was in line with what this injury was. So the recovery
implications or what they felt was necessary were not being adhered to, and therefore they feel strongly that they can now void those guarantees.
Right, and it's a fascinating legal discussion. I'm all in on this. I'm sure a lot of people are like, don't care, except for what the ramifications are to the cap and things like that for the Raiders. So, I think we're gonna cover it. We're gonna follow it. I will be very obsessed with it. I will promise you that over the next couple of months and years as this plays out. I also want to compare this because at the crux of this appears to be a disagreement over the best process in order to get Christian Wilkins back on the field. The team seems to claim, and this is not something they said on the record necessarily, but obviously we talked to people who have their thoughts on what was going on, that the team basically said, look, another procedure is necessary. That's what's going to take to get you back on the field. We need to do this so that you can get back healthy, get back on the field. His side would be, don't need a procedure, just need to get better. Or, as I'm sure what the team will claim, and this is, I'm going to step out and say this is just speculation. This is not something that we're reporting. The speculation would be from the team saying, you're not getting the procedure because you don't want to play. You just want to sit out and collect your money that's guaranteed and sit out. That's what the team will probably claim.
Well, and in addition to that, what I think one of the cruxes, one of the principal components of their argument is going to be is that this was something that they had been discussing for a long time, obviously, and we don't know exactly when it all when it all kind of came to when those discussions started happening. Of hey, you need to get a surgery. We feel like that's the appropriate way to move forward and to create that path to get back. He obviously said no. And I think what they're going to argue is, well, you showed up for training camp and you weren't any better for whatever your plan was.
Your plan didn't work.
Your plan didn't work.
I'm going to say this, and it's slightly different, but there is I know a lot of our viewers are not in Vegas or other places, but here in Vegas, as somebody who's covered sports for a long time here, there is a fairly comparable situation, although it was more just a disagreement over a procedure that was involved in hockey. So the star of the Golden Knights now is Jack Eichel, a very prominent player in the NHL. The reason the Golden Knights have him is because he was a member of the Buffalo Sabres. There's other things that went on. There was more things behind the scenes in terms of the relationship with Jack Eichel and the Sabres. But at the crux was, and I'm maybe forgetting some details, I was very plugged in at the time, but it's now 4 or 5 years ago. But at the crux of the debate was Jack Eichel needed a very serious procedure.
Yes.
There's an old school way of doing this procedure, which gets you back into playing very quick, not very quickly, much more quickly. It was brutal on the body. Athletes that have had this for the last 20, 30 years have had their career shortened. They've had their life, not as quality after they were done. It's a very brutal procedure, but it'll get you back out there.
And he
said, look, there's a new procedure out there. Other athletes have had this. It's working well for them. The recovery process is a little longer, and it's not, it's still experimental, so not everybody's coming back right away, but quality of life down the road is better. I think this is the best course of action for me. They were at a stalemate, couldn't really decide, and eventually ended in him being traded. They were like, we're done with this. We're trading him. Shipped him out, went to the Vegas Golden Knights, got the procedure, and has been fairly healthy.
Exemplary,
since it happened. Yeah. Great player, but fairly healthy as well since it happened. So there was a disagreement between the team and the player about how best to approach his medical situation. Same thing here. I mean, it's not procedure versus procedure, but it's procedure or no procedure. And this is not a new thing necessarily in sports.
No.
Usually, it's handled behind the scenes. They figure out some compromise or some course of action going forward, and it's really never even discussed or talked about or heard about by the public, or it gets out. In this case, it just got to a point, and I think a lot of it has to do with they didn't have that relationship with him either.
No.
It's not that they didn't sign him. They didn't have him last year. They come in and they're like, what is going on here?
Yeah, and quite honest, going all the way back to April, there were some rumblings about they weren't connecting. Let's put it that way. Here's my question, and again, I'm not reporting anything because I don't know. Maybe this will all come out in the wash. Maybe it won't. But I do wonder if in June, when the Raiders informed him that, hey, we're voiding the remaining guarantees of your contract, that does not mean that they're avoiding the contract. What it means is it didn't affect the paragraph 5s, which when you add up, basically that's the contract. So the $35 million or so was still available to him. He just needed to play at that point rather than just have it guaranteed. So, I'm wondering, and I'm very curious if they did that with the idea of, hey, but if you do get the surgery, we'll just reinstate the guarantees. We feel like, that would be an agreeable situation. And again, he declined. He filed a grievance through the Players Association. The Players Association went forward with that yesterday. I don't know if they went forward with it yesterday before the release or after the release. I guess it's neither here nor there at this point. But it feels like they tried everything, at least from their perspective, to get him to get on the same page as them. It just never came to fruition, and now they are moving forward.
Yeah, and obviously this is they've been preparing for it. I mean, like we said, they haven't had him out there, so a lot of guys have gotten reps. By all accounts, Jonah Lolu has had a massive summer. We talked about that a lot. I actually talked to Jonah during the summer out at UNLV one day, and he was just very, very confident how well he'd done this offseason and was getting a lot of really good feedback about what he's done, and all the coaches have kind of raved about him. So
is Max Crosby.
Huge opportunity for Jonah, huge opportunity for a lot of guys, and let's not forget the Raiders did address the position in the draft with a couple of selections in the mid rounds for some depth that they could have at that defensive tackle. So they've got options. They've got guys that now have an opportunity to step up. And we'll see what happens with that.
Right, and we're going to take a little bit of break, but before we do, we're going to hear from Pete Carroll right now on how the Raiders plan to replace Christian Wilkins.
This place is about competition. It always has been, and it's just wide open. And I don't need to talk about any names right now. I think the fact, if you watch the rotations, and we're giving everybody a chance, mixing guys with the ones and the twos all the way throughout, just to gather a bunch of information. I went right back to cut-ups yesterday of the first 2 days, just watching each individual guy, and we're just putting the information in the vault here, and we'll figure it out in time. But we have a good young spunky group of guys now, and the young guys that came in this past draft are part of that competition too, so it's exciting.
Well, so basically what they're saying is that because Christian Wilkins filed for a grievance. So what they're saying is that basically they're going to argue that you want me to roll that? Oh, you got it.
I mean, if you want to roll it, I ain't gonna say no. I could roll it. Yeah, I'll do that.
So fuck you, dude. So basically they're saying that we told you to get a procedure and you're trying to do something your way and you're trying to sit out and collect a check, which that sounds kind of plausible, to be honest. Like, we're telling you to get either way you was gonna sit out and get a check, nigga. Even if you'd have got the procedure or not, you still would have got the check. You feel me? So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. It's definitely going to be interesting. For real. Did you want to bring it up? Said, thought you was going to break it up, fool. I got it. I got you.
From Station Casinos.
Okay.
Signing last year, $110 million over 4 years. But I'm curious to know, when something like that happens with a team, how does that affect their lines, if at all?
Not really that much. I think when it comes to the defensive side of the ball, not that Wilkins wasn't an impact player, it has to be a TJ Watt, a Micah Parsons. I think a guy that really disrupts the game and controls it from that side of the ball. Very few guys in the defensive side really move the needle. And unfortunately, in this case, that wouldn't be the case. He missed a lot of games last year, but I think it shows maybe a little bit changing direction for the Raiders there. Everything I've seen, Pete Carroll, he expects them to be successful now. And as we've talked about, they play in a very tough division in the AFC West.
Well, as we talk about some of the betting trends, Chuck, I wanted to get into what's going on right now with week 1 for the Raiders-Patriots game. Last week we talked about a lot of money coming in on the Raiders. Is that still what is happening?
Yeah, I think, you've seen money come in still on the Raiders. Number was as high as 4.5, came down to 3. I think it'll take a lot to push us below the 3, especially being this amount of time out right now. But it wouldn't surprise me to see this number continue to drop. But I think it's more of a Pete Carroll, Geno Smith, Ashton Genty factor more than anything else right now.
All right, Chuck, now I want to kind of pick your brain a little bit just to get your take. I know you're all invested in the ins and outs of everything happening with football, especially the Raiders. So Jamal Adams, what does a signing like his name do for the Raiders, especially because he's got that background and relationship with Pete Carroll?
I think that's the key, Heidi, is that he has that familiarity with Jamal Adams. He knows what kind of player he is. Even if Adams won't be maybe that same impact player he was when Pete Carroll had him in Seattle, he's a veteran leadership guy who I think a lot of those younger defenders can lean on. Pete Carroll can lean on. And I think it's kind of him instituting and changing the culture there to get a mix of players that he thinks can really help a lot of these young kids get to the next level.
And as we come up on the second week of training camp, Chuck, what is going on over at Station Casinos? I know that last man standing contest is coming right up. So let's talk about that and how people can get involved and all of the other things happening on the STN Sports app.
Actually, we're fired up about last man standing, but we don't.
All right. So he said the SeaWorld was moving hella weird. He could have got that second surgery and still would have gotten the motion on bro. Nah, that's facts. He definitely, if he would have just got the procedure, got better. Because they voided it for they would have. I'm gonna get back to it. But they said they would have unvoided that. Matter of fact, I think they did say that. You know what I'm saying? If he would have got the procedure and did what they did, they would have unvoided it and he would have got his money. But niggas go to college for no reason. They don't even go to college to learn. They go to play football and that's it. Because ain't no way you didn't know that shit. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Ain't no way in hell you didn't know that shit, bro. So. It's crazy work, son. That's crazy work. But like I said, Jonah Lawler is gonna be starting. Look, I know my shit, bro. That's why I'll be able to talk how I talk. You know what I'm saying? I know my shit, bro. I told y'all. Jonah Lawler will be the starter. And to be honest, I think Christian Wilkins is gonna get in there too. I mean, why I keep saying this nigga name? I think what's the name gonna be dope too. So yeah. So back to the John. You're a big fast twin. This nigga SeaWorld not his 10. Not on his 10, no, bro. Nah, he ain't. He ain't on his business. But you can tell he wasn't. You gonna have a surfer. You supposed to be rehabbing. You got a fucking viral video going up of you motherfucking singing in some pink ass Crocs, nigga. Like come on, bro. We gotta do better than that, man. You know what I'm saying? Niggas gotta do better than that. That's just for the birds, bro. You over there dancing and shit. That nigga said, yeah, nah, we ain't gonna do this. I think we're gonna give you your walking boot papers. Shit. So I don't blame him at all. Shit, you feel me? I really don't. I don't blame him one bit. Shoot, we trying to change something over here. This ain't that Antonio Pierce regime. You know what I'm saying? Where we can bullshit and party and bullshit, and then be losing at the same time. Ain't nobody trying here to do that shit, see that shit, or hear that shit. Take that shit somewhere else. You feel me? So that's all I'm saying. But look, we're gonna be exciting this year, bro. I'm telling you, we definitely gonna be exciting this year. I'm about to play this video again. So, but just Sticky right, he ain't on his 10, bro. He ain't on his 10 at all, cuz. Yep. It was a power move moving. Definitely. And we've already, so we ain't got to pay that nigga shit, bro. Like, Spike Tech is the GOAT. For real. Spike Tech is the GOAT. Alright, let's see.
I'll actually start taking applicants. Wager. So
welcome back, Raider Nation, to Vegas Nation First and 10 on Vinny Bonsignor, Adam Hill. We're talking about Christian Wilkins. You just heard from Pete Carroll talking about the competition, and he went back last night and started looking at all the cut-ups from the first 2 days, the individual cut-ups of all the defensive linemen now that are that move up a notch, basically, now that Christian Wilkins officially won't be here. A couple of guys, we mentioned Jonah. And I think that, he's definitely in line to start alongside Adam Butler. But what I found pretty interesting today, and this was the first day of life without Christian Wilkins officially, every time and today was really the first time they exclusively went ones versus ones, first team offense, first team defense. So when the first team defense was in their base, like let's say on first down or not necessarily passing downs, Jonah was in there next to Adam Butler. On longer down situations where more prone for pass situations, Tyree Wilson replaced Jonah in the defense, trying to get another pass rusher in there. So I found that kind of interesting that Tyree is now, I think, part of the plan in the interior. Maybe not as a down in and down out like Jonah would be, but somebody that when it gets right down to it and they need to get their best pass rushers on the field or create as much pass rush as possible, Tyree would be part of that picture on the inside, not the outside.
Yeah, and that's kind of what he's done a lot of the last, especially last year. It's kind of the speed package that they would bring in on third and long and get an extra pass rusher on the field on the inside. And Tyree, I thought at times thrived in that role in terms of finding himself a little bit. I mean, it's just it's odd because his body is so perfect to play defensive end. It's so perfect to be an edge rusher, but it just. For whatever reason, he's maybe found a little more comfortable to get inside, whether it's the matchups or whether, being closer to the ball helps. Remember, like at the beginning of it when he first came, the ability to the delay of getting off the line of scrimmage a little bit. Maybe being
like a cartoon almost.
Maybe being closer to the ball helps a little bit in that regard. And sometimes just guys are comfortable in different spots. So seems like they found someone. Patrick Graham has obviously been the defensive coordinator before, and I'm sure he kind of mentioned it and said, look, maybe we can try this going forward. And it seems like that is going to be part of the plan in terms of getting extra pass rush on the field. Because 2 years ago, before they signed Christian Wilkins, I mean, his pass rush numbers were phenomenal in terms of the amount of pressures that he had. His last year in Miami, I think he had 9 sacks that year, if I'm remembering correctly. He had a really good sack year, a really, really good pressure year as well, and that was what they brought him in to get some pressure on the inside. The team with Max, maybe if Tyree can continue to emerge in that role, that would be very beneficial in terms of trying to replace what they hoped Christian Wilkins would be, not what he was.
Yeah, exactly. Wasn't it? Yeah, and actually along those lines, part of when you think about Tyree Wilson, and Pete Carroll had some nice things to say about Tyree Wilson, and we'll hear that in just 1 second. But there's also there's also a presence, a player that wasn't here last year at all, except for in training camp this time last year, but certainly not in the regular season, and that's Malcolm Kuntz. So now when you look at what we were just talking about, that rotation between Jonah and Tyree, that's also including Malcolm Kuntz, who missed all of last year with a knee injury, rushing the passer from his edge position. So you basically have Max Crosby. I forgot I didn't see who the other, because I think Adam Butler came off the field a few times in those situations as well. I didn't get a chance to catch who that other defensive tackle was.
Tossie was out there?
It might have been, yeah. And then Tyree, and then Malcolm Kuntz. So
Tonka got some pressure.
Tonka heavyweight,
where he came in through. So yeah, there was
whole job about Tonka
for sure.
Right, and let's talk about that, because Pete is he's never shy about talking about the young guys. And while he didn't name them by name, we all knew who he was talking about. When he talked about, hey, don't forget basically about the 2 draft picks, J.J. Pegues from Ole Miss and Tonka Hemingway from South Carolina, a pair of draft picks by the Raiders this year that have been part of the rotation. We'll give them that, and now one or both might be counted on just a little bit more than maybe originally anticipated.
Yeah, I think the entire group, and it was a very deep group. It's the group that I think when we were doing our preview that I was most interested in seeing kind of how it played out. Now everybody looks and says, all right, there's a spot that is open. I mean, there's a lot of reps, a lot of reps, a role that's open, a lot of reps that are available, an opportunity to get on the field, maybe more than you expected, because this one player who, again, we hadn't seen it in action, but everybody expected once he was healthy, he would be out there a lot. Yeah. All those snaps are available to somebody, and they're all going to try to compete for that and fight for it.
Let me ask you this. I think I know the answer, but I don't want to put you out there like that. I'll wait for your answer. A lot of fans are clamoring for go sign somebody, go bring somebody in, and maybe they will for depth purposes for training camp. But at this point, I don't know, unless there's a young defensive tackle prospect that becomes available maybe by release or however that that comes about. We've heard Quentin Jefferson. I know he was in the building a couple days ago, and nothing came to fruition with that. I would be more prone to just kind of sticking with what is and seeing how those younger players develop, especially here in training camp, rather than bringing somebody in. Nothing against Jefferson, but I'd rather have young players on track to develop rather than bringing in a veteran like that who doesn't offer some tremendous improvement and would impede some of these younger players. I think I know what the answer is going to be, but I'll let Adam take it away.
I would hope that everybody that watches us regularly, thank you guys. We know we see the numbers. We appreciate you guys. I would think everybody that watches this regularly knows my answer.
You know what? It's one of those ones where sometimes the readers say, "Why'd you ask that question?" Everybody knows. I know, but I can't just make up a quote. You got to ask the question so you hear the answer, right? We do that often.
Yeah. I would suggest going with what you've got, or as you said, if somebody was out there available that's 23, 24, maybe like former high pick that just doesn't work out somewhere that you have to be able to trade for. Potentially, I guess that would be the move, but I think you go with what you've got. Here's what I would say about this, and maybe it could be incorrect, but my thought is we have seen it, we've heard about it. I think we've seen it in action. Jonah Ulu has been fantastic this offseason.
I can't get on a mountain high enough to scream that.
Would Jonah have had the kind of offseason he had if he didn't play last year.
Oh, if he didn't play last year, right?
If he wasn't part of the rotation, if he wasn't on the field,
I know.
I would say no.
Yeah,
I would say no. He wouldn't. He would have been buried. I think that, I've plugged this before, but kind of if you want to go find the piece I did on Jonah when we sat down this summer. I mean, he talked about the confidence.
Where's the flag? What did he
talked
do, bro?
about, hey, I didn't really even believe myself. Max Crosby said the other day, I don't think Jonah knows how good he is.
Right.
He's still learning that. I think he needed to be on the field to learn that.
Well,
I don't think he would have. So my take would be, yes, get these young guys out there, and if they're not ready, if they're not good enough, if they're not good, I mean, let's just say maybe you find out that they're not going to be good.
Yeah,
they're not going to
valuable information as well.
I'd rather know that
yes.
than to have like young guys on the bench and then go into next summer like, hey, maybe this guy's going to be able to let's give him a shot this year.
Right.
Find out now.
Yeah, and I think to me, what we're basically saying is that it's not that he smelled blood. It's that he proved to himself that there's a baseline there and the potential to grow. And you only learn that by actually playing. Like if he hadn't played, as Adam suggested last year, and he got a great opportunity, and good on Tom Telesco and the previous staff, which includes some guys that are still in this building, that your pro personnel guys. Who jumped right on Jonah as soon as he was released at the end of training camp by the Indianapolis Colts. If he doesn't get that opportunity, and if he just, let's say, was on the practice squad all last year and wasn't able to actually get on the field, he's coming into this year and really going back to what you were just saying, going into the offseason with all sorts of uncertainty within his own mind. But he proved to himself and others, obviously, but more so to himself, and saw what's possible. And now I already know that there's a baseline for me. I want to go higher, so I'm going to attack this offseason as a result. And I'm with you. I think that gave him great motivation and momentum going into this offseason. And there's no question, based on what we've seen anyway, that he took advantage of that.
Yeah, that was my take, and it's an argument we've had about a lot of different positions really on the team. That I believe this is a group of players, the young players that they have here with the Raiders, that can compete for a long time. Not this year. I don't think they're winning the Super Bowl this year.
Right.
But I think they have the base that once you start to add a couple more pieces, you are going to be able to put that really competitive roster on the field in terms I think they're going to be a good team, not a great team.
Yeah.
But that you could be a great team in the future with a lot of the guys that you have here. You just need a couple more of them. You need a couple more young guys. You need a couple more guys to develop. Then you got to add later the right pieces because you could spend in free agency and not work out, as the Raiders have just learned.
Yeah.
But you add the right pieces to that mix. So I think it's more about developing, just finding a bunch of guys you can develop and then being able to kind of pounce on that opportunity. So I would go young. I would go with the guys that you have that are young, or, like I said, if you're going to bring somebody in, which I wouldn't recommend necessarily, it would be somebody young that could develop, maybe a guy that gets cut at the end of training camp that could develop, like Jonah Laulu did last year. Those type of guys. You find a guy, and maybe they work out.
Yeah, excellent point. All right, so we covered a lot with Christian Wilkins. I want to very quickly get into what we actually did see on the field today. A lot of, like I said, ones versus ones and 11 on 11. That's kind of the first that we've seen a little bit of it, sprinkling of it. First 2 days, today was the day where the ones versus the ones, they really got after it, and a lot of the work was done in the red zone. It was from my vantage point.
Need to do more of that.
They do need to do more of it, but there was some really good give and take. There were some offensive touchdowns that were scored. There were some great defensive plays that were made. So I would, if I was keeping score at home, I would say that defense, it was more their day. But that's not to say that they didn't do anything offensively, because they certainly did. There was a pick six touchdown by Lonnie Johnson off a throw by Geno Smith. And I don't know if he's caught this, but maybe about 10 minutes later, Lonnie went over there and gave one of those and Geno just patted him on the helmet and said, "Hey, you got to do your job too."
It was a really bad decision.
Yeah,
it was late. He waited late. Threw back across the field. Kind of blind throw, like he didn't really look back. He just kind of assumed he had the outlet guy out in the flat to the left,
right?
And way late, and just basically a walk-in pick six. Bad decision. more than a bad throw.
Right, right, for sure. There were also some good offensive moments. There was a touchdown throw, really a beautiful throw from Gino to Trey Tucker in the back of the end zone during one red zone period, and then there were some other good defensive plays as well. Aiden O'Connell was a little up and down today. There were a couple of good throws, but there were a couple of ones that were just, quite honestly, off target, as there was for Geno Smith. So they're kind of getting after it. But in talking to Pete Carroll afterwards, he seemed pleased with the work that was put in over these first 3 days. He's really eager to get Sunday's practice out of the way. They'll have an off day on Saturday and get to the pads on Monday. It's still not, we're not talking about old school football where guys are getting tackled to the ground.
I think they're doing
But,
a Oklahoma drill.
no, and that would be great if they did. But what really does happen, and this is the one thing that you can really gauge. You can't gauge the tackling. We get that. We understand that. But the offensive line, defensive line becomes a real engagement and fight at that point. And I would imagine the offensive line is pretty frustrated right now, not being able to block their counterparts. That'll start happening on Monday.
Yeah, I think, everybody's excited to see it. Everybody talks about it. It is the offensive line, defensive line, because you really can't judge. And you forget. Like, you do forget when you're watching it, and you're, kind of watching some of the battles on the line, and they're not actually hitting. They're kind of just shadowing, getting in the way. There's a little bit of contact. They get fired up. Obviously, they're NFL players, so they're not completely backing off. But there's no pads, so you can't actually block. So you start watching, you're like, oh, this guy just did this. You're like, oh, yeah, they're not wearing pads. Like, it's not right. And I would say I was actually talking to on the sideline. Won't give his name, but people might figure out, a former NFL player who was on the sideline, and he was even like, he's like, oh, how did that guy? And then he goes, oh yeah, they're not pads. They can't hit. You can't hit. Even he forgot. You kind of forget when you're watching, but you see it ratcheted up inside. I mean, they're not gonna do full contact. They're not gonna hit, take guys to the ground. I don't think very early again.
You never know, Pete.
You never know. But you do kind of forget. And then I think we'll see what is actually going on the lines and really be able to watch some of those battles between the offensive and defensive line. And then you'll see the tempers start to flare a little bit out there as guys are actually hitting.
Without question.
It's 120 degrees. It's been nice so far.
It's been beautiful.
But I imagine it's going to get a little warmer.
Right.
And the pad's going to be real hot. And then that's when you start to see some guys get worked up.
Yeah. As Chip Kelly told us, this is the time of year in this setting without the pads where when you're watching the offensive line, 1-2 steps, is his hands right, is his footwork right? All right, I'm not even watching the rest of that because it's kind of meaningless. That will start to change on Monday. And by the way, I don't know. I don't want to oversell that open practice over at Allegiant Stadium on August 1st, Saturday, August 1st or 2nd. I think it's the 2nd. Whatever's next Saturday is, a week from this Saturday.
It's Saturday, I believe.
It's Saturday, next Saturday. Open practice, I think, at 1 o'clock over at Allegiant Stadium. I keep hearing them talking about this as a mock game, as a scrimmage.
Yeah.
And I'm very curious how Pete Carroll decides to handle that, whether he's going to allow some level of tackling. I would doubt it, but he is, again, he's an old school dude. Don't ever forget about that.
Yeah, everybody keeps saying mock game. That's how it's been referred to. So
it's scrimmage.
I expect that it would be something like that. Although we also heard, I believe Pete Carroll said during OTAs, we're not going to see Asher Jetty tackled until a season game.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're going to tackle.
Well, maybe there'll be some guys that are just off limits in terms of that. So in either case, we will be back on Monday, unless, as Adam said, there's some breaking news. Which, hey, after last night, you never put that past anybody. So we'll be prepared either way. But short of a breaking news story, we'll be back on Monday to recap what we saw with the full pads. And in addition to that, give a recap of what we saw on Sunday. They're off tomorrow, Saturday. They're back on the field Sunday, then full pads on Monday. Until then, enjoy your weekend. Thank you so much for all your support. As I always say, please continue to hit the subscribe button and the like button. If you have a Raider fan in your family or amongst your friends, a subscription to Vegas Nation makes a whole lot of sense. We're your one-stop shop for Raider news and analysis. We got you covered from A to Z. So whether it's yourself wanting to get a subscription to Vegas Nation or to gift it to somebody else, it makes for a really good gift, and we thank you. We thank the Las Vegas Review-Journal and Station Casinos STN Sports for all their support. We thank Heidi Fang for doing everything that she does. Adam, thank you so much for all.
So y'all got all the scoop on Christian Wilkins, Tyree Wilson, Jonah Laulu, and everything they just said. I said about 2-3 days ago. Which is crazy, right? But it ain't, because it's Yurt, man. Yurt give you the scoop. You feel me? You feel me? I'll give you the scoop, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? You gotta pay, niggas gotta pay attention, close attention. See the moves that we making, you feel me? Now, Europe ain't always right, because I said we wouldn't make no moves and we made some. So. Well, I said we wouldn't make no moves, but mainly I meant trades. You feel me? But I still said we wouldn't make no moves, so I own up to that, you feel me? But I'm trying to tell you, yo, we ain't missing a step. And you heard what they said. Jonah Laulu looked really good. That motherfucker ready. Tyree Wilson, he's a lot better at D tackle than he's playing at what's his name. It's the stuff that they telling you, man. They in the building too. It ain't like they not in the building. They in the building, so they know. And, you know, most of that Christian Wilkins shit was speculation. You know, they just covered up with scenarios, but still, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, you know, it's all good. You know, but at least we know that we got a vision, and we know already what we want to do, where we headed, where we want to go, and where we headed. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, this shit starts off with New England week 1. Well, not really. It starts off with, I don't even give a fuck if it's preseason. But this shit starts off with Seattle. You know what I'm saying? This shit starts off with them. I don't care if it's backups or not. We need to impose our will. You feel me? Like, we really need to impose our will. So, but yeah. I'm trying to tell you, these Pete not playing, yo, ain't nothing gonna fuck this shit up. You feel me? Ain't nothing gonna mess this shit up for him. You know what I mean? And like they were saying, they could, once they drop everybody from and you know, create the 53, they might go on and get somebody that's younger and could be really good. You know what I mean? So you know, this is a good time to go and get Clowney, probably. Go look at Clowney. You know what I'm saying? Now that we move Tyree, we can move Tyree full time to D tackle. Shit, hell, why not bring in, like, what's the name? So he can, you know, we ease in Kuntz, and then Kuntz becomes the starter. Or not even that. He sit behind Kuntz. He get a breather. Kuntz come in. You feel me? We in the building. So, I mean, Cloudy come in. I be Coots. I'm at Cloudy. We in the building. You feel me? So, yeah. So, that's what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? So. This is what's going. Sign Clowney, I'm down. You know what I'm saying? That's the only if we're moving Tyree Wilson to D tackle, because you heard what they were saying, right? You heard what Vinny B and Adam Hill said. They on the first 2 downs, it's Jonah Laulu. And on the passing situations, they throw in Tyree Wilson. So he must have stepped, he must have, got his get off corrected, because, you gotta generate that pressure. But that would be dope though. Him, Max, and Kuntz. Oh man. And Kuntz raved about Lalu, which I already knew he would, because he see him putting in the work. You know what I'm saying? He see him putting in the work, so that's what's going on, y'all. Like this is interesting. It's like the most interesting. It's like the most interesting. Off season training camp we had. So yeah, but I don't see him starting over Kuntz though. But I mean, yeah, to put him in with Kuntz, yeah, that'd be crazy. Shit, hell, it'd be dope if they had that'd be a NASCAR package right there. Kuntz, Max, Clowney, and Tyree Wilson. That'd be nuts. Just in the NASCAR. And then Jamal Adams, they got him played the Leo. You know what I'm saying? They put him in that Leo a little bit. So look, it's a lot of moving around to do, but this is why this is good. You know what I mean? This is of course, hell yeah. And that's facts. They will be batting balls down left and right. Right, I agree. Cruz for sure has to be out there on 3rd downs, no questions. Yeah. Like, that's facts, bro. And why not throw in the NASCAR? Little NASCAR package with Clowney, Kuntz, Clowney. You put Tyree Wilson and Davian Clowney in the middle and put and then you got Koontz and Max on the outside. It's crazy work, you know. And fuck it, why not? Why don't you have somebody blitz? Somebody like Jamal Adams come off like the edge or somewhere. This this shit is gonna be real interesting, I'm telling you. It's gonna be real interesting. And that's why I'm doing the pressers, and I'm gonna start doing more of the Vincent Bonsignor review, so we can review of what he be saying, because they in the building. You feel me? And I follow them. You know, shout out to Adam Hill and Vinny Bonsignor. You feel me? Shout out to them. You know, I'm not gonna play them on there or nothing because I don't want to get copyrighted, so I just do the audio. You know, I'm not making no money off of it or nothing. So, you know, it's not for promotional use. Dude, I'm getting a real highlights with Jesse and Boise State online right now. I just run off tackle, and he just makes everyone look stupid. I've had like 5 70-yard touchdowns in 3 games. That's crazy. Where's the flag? That's crazy. Genty is going to do his thing, but yeah, I'm pretty sure Chip seen that. He'll throw that in there. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure Chip seen that. I thought you. I'm trying to figure out what. Oh, okay. So where's that at? We got one more presser, y'all. If I can find it. It was the Jermaine Pratt. He said Jermaine Pratt, but I don't see it. Let me go to the Raiders app real quick. I might be able to find it on the Raiders app, y'all. DeAndre Coburn. So we picked up another D tackle, y'all. DeAndre Coburn. It looks like he was playing for Tennessee. Here it is right here. Wait, but let me see if I can find it. Okay. Okay, so we got DJ Glaze too. Okay, so we're gonna play the DJ Glaze one first. We're gonna go down the line. Matter of fact, it takes us down the line already. And Cole Miller's back is the next one, y'all.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing for, Coach Kelly is, you got to be smart. You got to know your assignment. That's kind of the starting point. So, we kind of, all got together. We've been learning. We're still learning. But, it just kind of starts with knowing our assignment, knowing the guy next to you is going to know his, and then execute. That's the biggest thing. Just knowing where to be, when to be there, knowing the guy next to you is going to do his assignment, so you don't have to worry about that as well.
Kind of life in the NFL, but, you have a whole year, you learn a system, and you're like, oh no, you got to do something different now. Like, I guess, what is that process like for you?
Just for me, just being able to adapt at any moment. Like I said, we've all been kind of going through it together. Just realizing I'm not the only one, that's kind of doing this. So, just leaning on guys like, Kappa and Colton. Just relying on those guys and their knowledge to kind of help me out, and just being able to adapt and change. And I feel like it's been going smooth so far.
How different is for you coming into Carroll, knowing you have a job, as compared to like last year, where it's like, hey, you got to fight for your time out here?
Really, I don't look at it any different. Cause I know how quick things can change. So if I came out here and I was comfortable and complacent, the next guys behind me ready to go. So still striving to get better. And kind of looking at it like I'm still fighting for a job. Even though I came in as the right tackle, my job is to stay there. For as long as possible.
How does it make you feel when you know you're going against Max in practice every day, kind of get you prepared for what's coming up when you came there?
Yeah, I love it. It's like game competition every day. So like you said, it's going to do nothing but get me ready. I know Max kind of looks for me to push him. I'll look for him to push me 100%. He's one of the best players in the league. So, I love going against him. I know it's only going to make me better in the end. Get me ready for the season. So I look forward to it each day.
Do you treat you any differently now? Like you're a second-year guy now?
Max only has one speed, so it's just the same. But we love it. We love it.
Obviously, you've been patented, but what have you seen from Ashton to play Foster?
I mean, it's real. He was picked, 6th overall for a reason. Like you said, we haven't been in pads, but I believe he's going to be able to do great things when we do get pads. I'm excited to see him. He goes when he gets the hole, he goes. So, just been excited to go out there and try to create space for him, and I'm looking forward to what he can do.
It seems like he has quite a bit of confidence. I mean, how important is that, especially for rookies?
It's huge. It's huge. If you don't have any confidence, then you probably, you're not going to know your assignment. You're not going to know where to be. So, for him to have that and just be able to play freely, it's huge. It's huge for him to come in and, he trusts us up front. We trust him to do what he has to do. So, hopefully we continue to gel and build our relationship.
How is Alex Kappa, added into this? Obviously, how has he been able to help with that presence?
He's got experience. He's played, many years. So, just another guy you can go to if you have a question or if you need something. Him playing beside me, we talk all the time. So, it's been huge just to have another guy like that who can, just talk, feel through things. We learn the plays together. I feel like it's helped out a lot, especially me playing beside him. But, in meetings or whatever, he'll, see a young guy do something, he'll speak up, he'll talk. So I feel like it's been huge and impact the whole room.
Obviously, you're still playing for your spot, like you said. You're not going to replace it. When you look at this offensive line, there's some good guys behind you that you really like that you're trying to take a big your way.
I feel like Charles is going to be great. He came in, he did some great things. Just for him to continue to develop him, Caleb. Those guys just come in with energy, ready to go each day, willing to learn, asking questions. So, guys like that who ask questions, who are willing to learn, you just want to pour into them. And for me, it's going in my second year. I'm not the oldest, but I'm willing to, share the experience that I've got in my first year. So, just taking those guys under my wing and, getting them ready as well.
You feel older than you are.
Yeah.
Has that always been, have you always been like, I guess, more mature? Is that like a thing you've heard from people?
Yeah, for sure. Just trying to, like you said, try to take the mature route. I don't know. I've just always been like that. But I feel like it helps me in my preparation. It helps me, lock in when I get out there, when I'm, learning and all that. So that's kind of how I've always been.
I asked you a lot about second year on the field, transition into college and all that stuff. Like just life in general. So last year was.
Hey, Law Dog, we're gonna play the Genty interview just because you're here tonight.
For sure, like you said, coming out of college is kind of nonstop, just training, getting ready. This year you can kind of, you get, we're here, so you get to learn. I get to, get in the playbook, learn. You got a lot more time by yourself. So what are you gonna do with that time? Are you gonna sit around and do nothing? Are you gonna work? Like off-season, kind of where people get challenged. Are you gonna, get better? Are you gonna strive to get better? Are you gonna get complacent? And for me, it was just trying to always get better, try to always be here around guys that were here. And continue to just get that steady improvement.
You ask me for advice on that. Like, how do you handle the downtime? Like, work all summer and have to take time off. Like, is that something you saw advice about?
Yeah, for sure. I went to Colton was the first person I went to because he'd been here for a minute. You definitely you can take a break, you can take time off, but you don't want to make it like a 4-week break, whatever. So just take a little bit of time off. You come back and you get to work because. You got to get ready for camp. You got to get ready for this and that. So it's better to do it in your downtime than try to come back and try to catch up where people might be ahead of you.
I got you, bro. We got Cole Millen next to
just understanding. Your first year you come in, your brain's all over the place. Like, I got to get this block perfect. I got to do this. I got to do that. What do I got on this play? It just slows down in the sense of you just go out there and you execute, understanding that now is practice. This is the time where you can, make mistakes you don't want to, but you can. You can go back and watch it and you can correct it, and you can continue to get those reps each day. So just understanding it from a point of, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to do my assignment. I've been studying my assignment. I'm going to do it to my full ability. I'm going to go watch it. I'm going to come back and correct each thing I can each day. I feel like it's 90% mental. Like most of it is mental. Because if you know where to be, most times or not, you can get your job done. If you don't know where to be, then like I said, you're not going to get your job done. So just knowing the right spots to be in, knowing your assignment, and the physical part is just take care of itself.
That's good.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
So, that was DJ Glaze, if y'all didn't know. And I think he's going to have people not even talking about him breaking out. Because I think he's going to be him working with Max full time now. I think he's like I'm talking about from training camp on. I think he's gonna shut people down because Max gonna throw him. He's gonna throw so much at him, and you know what I'm saying. And Max definitely gonna prepare him for the season, and he gonna get better. You feel me? Like even more better than what he is now. You know what I'm saying? And he knows that. He knows that he knows that he got to do what he got to do. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he should be worried about somebody taking his spot because I think he got that on lock. I think DJ Glaze is one of them, and he gonna prove this year. But yeah, he's one of my breakout candidates right there. DJ Glaze, yes sir. I think he gonna lock shit down. Him and Colton on both sides. We just need the guards to get it together. Once we get the guards to get it together, which we heard Third Mumford was playing some guard at right. He was playing at right guard. So I think they moved him from left to right. See if that's good. Hey, Ardelli in the building. He said Lumberjack Europe in the building. You in the building, my brother. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You in the building. We just playing these pressers, bro. Max said Max and everybody said DJ Glaze looks amazing. Yeah, nah, facts. He looked poised to have a good season this year, yo, for real. He looks poised to have a good season this year. All right, we go to the next one, y'all. On to the next. It's Cole Miller.
Back at it. It's great to see all the boys together. Guys took some time off to, get back, take a break from OTAs, but, coming back this week, they came back with purpose. It feels like we didn't skip a beat from OTAs. We've just really been on it. Offense, defense has been competing day after day, and it feels like, okay, is there going to be a drop-off? No. Kind of just kept taking steps each day, and I thought we finished the kind of week off right today with before the break. We're excited. Pads are in two more days, so things are good.
Jackson about this, but how much different is what Chip Kelly asked you in his offense as a lineman than maybe what other coaches have asked you?
Kind of go back to just being dynamic, because for as much as you can do as an offense, it kind of keeps the defense guessing. So I think just being dynamic, being able to do a little bit of everything is a huge pro, and we can execute it.
Everybody says this camp feels different, the staff feels different, like there's different energy. Like you say that every time there's new coach, every time there's everything. Like it's different. It's different.
You don't see a big bowling ball taken right out to, or the coaches bringing the juice. The players are having fun. No, you do feel it. When you step into the locker room and on the field, like it's contagious. And it's got to come, it's either from the coaches or players, but we're all bringing it along. It's still early, but you definitely can feel it for sure.
Oh, I guess how does that kind of manifest? Like when they're setting a certain tone, like it just carries over. So the locker room feels different. Like all the camaraderie is different. Like I guess how does that kind of show itself?
Yeah, I think it shows itself in the locker room for one. Guys hanging out and. We have all this time. We're spending, 12, 13 hours here, and we're having lunch together. Even when we take our lunches or we can go back home, we're all hanging out, talking to each other, shooting the stuff, So, no, it's been cool. And of course, we have a lot more to go, but it's been good so far.
You've got a couple more kids in there, the room this year. How are they kind of adjusting to life in the NFL?
Good. I think all the young guys have been looking real well. Even Lockie, he, from not playing any football to trying to pick up something each day. It's been pretty cool. He came back from Australia and he's like, "Did you ever think, what's your family think? Like, you ever figure you're not a snap of football?" Like, yo, Lockie.
Yeah. I guess. I didn't talk about that. What have you seen? Understanding.
It's a lot in general with the new offense. So he's just trying to pick up his bits and pieces as he can. But he's doing great. The rest of the young guys are doing real well. They also took a step, and the important part now is to kind of keep working on your technique, because when the pads come on, like, that's kind of the test for the rookies. Like, okay, what do you got? Now we got a bit more bull rush. You get a little bit more stuff. That'll be exciting to see. But so far, they've been doing real well.
Like yesterday and today, you guys are the biggest stories in football world. Everybody's talking about the Raiders. Everybody's talking about what went on yesterday. How do you guys keep it attention? Do you compartmentalize, like discuss, and then move on? Like, how do you deal with something like that when it happens?
I think in that scenario, I think just letting the obviously staff handle it, but we don't really have control of that. It sucks, but the best you can do is just move on. Just stay focused, because we have a lot of work to put in, and we don't have time to think about those things. So, but it's tough. But you got to take your best foot forward. Yeah,
which is good.
Yeah.
So that was Colton. That was Colton. He said, "This Raiders team's making the playoffs. Don't care what people say." Yeah, we got a shot.
All right, how you feeling so far the first couple of days of training camp?
Feeling great. The body's adjusting to the training camp life, especially being out here. It's something that I'm not quite used to, but I sort of am. Being in Miami for the past 3 years, so the heat's not so much.
You're also a durable runner. What do you do to keep yourself healthy, I guess?
Ashton Genty.
Yeah, it starts, right now taking care of the body, hot tub, cold tub, the right diet, nutrition, getting enough sleep at night, just everything I can do to keep myself on the field and, be accountable for my teammates.
When you're at college, there's restrictions. You can't devote 24/7 to football. That's just the way it goes. There's rules. This is now a 24/7 proposition. Have you noticed that this is now a job and you get to devote however much time you want to devote to your craft?
Yeah, most definitely. And I think for me, that's what's most exciting because you can become the best version of yourself. You don't got schoolwork to do and all that. Like, you can devote all the time you want to the game of football. And this game, you get what you put in. So I'm grateful for that. And, I'm going to keep putting in and, getting out great things.
Have you noticed any changes in your body? It looks like you're ready to go, basically. I don't know if that's how you've always looked, but have you noticed that change, that the ability to put that kind of time into your body?
Yeah, definitely focusing in on my weight, my diet, coming in a little bit lighter just so I can have more speed, be more explosive, right? So getting the proper things to maintain my weight.
I'm sure you were familiar with Gino and watched him from afar, but now that you've worked with him for a couple months, what surprised you about him?
Man, he's I wouldn't say I was surprised. I've heard a lot of great things, but he's just a great guy. He's smooth. He runs the offense well. He makes crazy throws out there, threading the needle. So I'm blessed to have a quarterback like him to play alongside.
You've been through mini camps and OTs and all that, but your first training camp in the NFL, so how much are you enjoying being in your first training camp?
Oh, I'm loving it. It's a dream come true. This is a moment I've been dreaming about, working for all my life. So, now I'm here, and it's time to take advantage of the opportunity.
Is it any different than it would be?
A lot of hard work. Trying to get better each and every single day. Long days, early mornings, late nights. So, that's what I expected, and that's what the game of football comes with.
Sure. Ashton, there was when Randy Moss was a rookie, I guess there were moments in his rookie camp that let everyone know, wow, that's Randy Moss as early as camp. And great players have that moments in camp. Have you had the opportunity to have that moment yet? Has it happened, you think, already?
I don't think so yet. Especially as a running back, to me, it's really when we put the pads on. So, I'll let that happen when it happens,
Is that a moment you're looking forward to?
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
You mentioned you ran a pro-style offense at Boise. How would you kind of compare and contrast both of those? What's that process been for you, picking this one up?
Yeah, I think the fact that I did run a pro-style in Boise has made the transition a lot easier. Being under center, being under the gun, all that type of stuff. And then in this offense, I think the only thing that's a little more different is catching the ball out the backfield a little more. As Boise, I was really just grounding and pounding,
Are you excited about that part? We've obviously seen you involved in the passing game right now. Just show that off.
Yeah, definitely excited. I feel like that's a part of my game that wasn't really shown that much at Boise State. So I'm hoping to bring that to life some more.
Working behind the offensive line, really, do you have to wait to get the pads to really get that chemistry going, or can you establish that now?
I think you can establish it now. Coach Pete Carroll talks about it a lot, just your imagination, right? So a lot of the runs and, they're going to hit a little different right now.
You gotta be on this channel, bro.
You can kind of imagine it and, just
gotta
play
be
the
on this
technique and
channel with real
fundamentals so that
quality.
when the pads do come on,
You can
you're just
dip.
ready to go. It's second nature.
He wants to previously talk to us about how he wants to take it over his way here in the year. Just so far, what have you learned from him? And kind of like, what's it been like having that veteran leadership already with you?
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, he's already been doing that since day one. Just advice on little things, whether it's on the field or off the field, any way he can help me, he's been there. So it's always great to have a veteran in your room that can bring you along and show you the way.
Being a college star is kind of one thing. Being in the NFL is kind of one thing, but being a Raider here in Las Vegas, see at Summer League, like how has the experience been? Raider Nation, everything else, like being with this franchise.
It's been amazing so far. I mean, obviously, a superstar is one thing, but then a fan base who truly loves all the players.
Fan, what's up with the ball up top?
It's just special.
Right above you.
So what?
Yeah,
I don't know if I ever will.
You got the last one.
Sorry. You mentioned some things that you expected from the NFL, the long days, hard practices. Is there anything that's kind of surprised you so far?
I feel sorry for you because you about to catch a headshot.
I wouldn't say
bye.
Probably the playbook, just how many plays and the level of detail being even higher. So just so much more plays to remember. I'd say that's the main thing.
So much of your game is breaking tackles. Before the pads come on, what are you really trying to hone in and focus on now?
Just the details in every single play. Getting to the right depth of my routes. Hitting the right aiming points on my run tracks. Identifying the defense, and pressures, being able to pick up pressures. So just all the little things that'll make me an all-around great back.
And everybody shared ideas about what you could do for the offense. In your own words, what do you think you'll be able to do for the offense?
I say like a car. It's got the engine, so you want to run the ball. So I'm gonna try my best to make this offense run, and we got great receivers, great tight ends, great quarterback, and it'll start with the run game.
Let's do one more. All good, guys? Okay.
So I'm playing some pressers. I went up on the I went on the what's the name? I think that was oh here it is. We got the Landon Roberts presser too.
Yeah, I think it's coming along good. Me and Pratt got an opportunity to talk before training camp. We all came together in training camp. We had a long conversation on the phone. Me and Devin been together since OTAs and stuff like that. And the whole group we kept in contact. That's your
security right there.
Month that we had off in OTA. So we coming together well. We starting to understand each other sometimes without saying it. We kind of, getting familiar with how each other's going to play certain situations and how we're going to communicate through them. So it's been a good start. We just got to keep it going. It starts with communication.
Secondary ways to expand my knowledge.
Yeah, they also put Jamal Adams at the
I think if it's not just a secondary. I think if we play together on all three levels, like we should be able to, it'll complement
they
every.
Put Jamal Adams at the Leo.
The back end, the back seven holding up. To give Max enough time to get there.
Me and Londo, we was talking about that. We was talking about it earlier.
Being able to do what we do. Max and them being able to do what they do up front going to complement us. So it's really all us time together, working together. It's just not one group. It's the whole defense. I think Jamal just obviously vet, another leadership guy in the room. But at the same time, if you didn't watch Jamal Adams, it'll be second nature for him to walk down in the box and be a backer because, you know what I'm saying, he's one of them safeties that just have many talents, man. He can be a safety. He can come down and be in your run defense. He's a great blitzer and stuff like that. He's an instinctual guy. So, stuff you can't teach, and stuff like that. And I think that's why, he's always been dominant because he's just not a safety. He's a football player.
As a leader in that linebacker room, you look around at some of the talent that's in there. The guys, when they played at their best, they've been the best in the league. Once you kind of play to that chip on their shoulder and kind of remind them, you guys got to let show people here still. If you're at your best, you're one of the best in the league.
Yeah. We have a lot to show, but sometimes, man, playing within the defense, playing for the guy next to you, doing your job so that it may get a D-line time, doing your job to what we're complimenting the back end. Because one thing about linebacker, you right in the middle. You know what I'm saying? You the glue that bring it all together. So at the end of the day, you doing your job, but also doing your job at a high level, it's gonna amount to playmaking by yourself, making big plays, you know what I'm saying, in certain situations and stuff like that. And sometimes the big play isn't actually making the play. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes the big play can be doing your job and it opened up this for another player to make it. So it all ties in together. One thing about this defense, the goal is obviously,
Damn, my bad. Yeah, it might start all over. Sorry about that, y'all.
The goal is obviously, I don't have to say it. The obvious goal is, and how you get there, you play together as a defense. You know what I'm saying? You don't think about individual goals, because if you do your job, then the individual goals will come.
Added Jermaine Track, guys played a little bit of OTAs, but now training camp. What do you think that he has added to that unit?
Yeah, we wasn't able to play with Jermaine at all in OTAs, but getting him out here in training camp, and so we talk, after OTAs, but getting him out here now in training camp has been great. Another communicator, another guy that brings a lot to the defense. Jermaine, these last, since we've been in these last 3 days, big communicator. We talk all throughout the day, football and everything. He's a great teammate on the field, but man, you can tell he's a better person off the field, and that's what's enjoyable about him and Dev. That them two guys, man, we could talk about football all day, we could talk about life all day, and I think knowing that about each other is going to bring our group even stronger, because you know what the guy next to you is fighting for. And you building that bond to a point, man, you'll do everything to make sure he's successful, and he'll do everything to make sure you're successful, and that turns into team success.
Couple more, guys. I feel like you didn't like Jermaine a lot the last couple of years, right?
I play defense. He ain't got nothing to do with me. Yeah, I play defense. He ain't got nothing to do with me, but I didn't really lose a lot to them.
You hear that OTAs and training camp were real tough camps, and it made it easier to slide into training camp. Is that the same feeling that you had as well?
Be honest with you, Keith, I just doing whatever we need to do to get this defense going, whatever we need to do, what we need to do to make sure that we putting ourselves in the best position to win. I kind of haven't even been. Every day I come out tired. I be in walk-through tired. I talk too much. I'm talking the whole time. I be in there like, dang, y'all tired? They be like, no. I be like, hey, I'm tired. Because I'm just exerting energy, because that's how much it means to me. But it means that to me because I know what it means to the guys in the room. I know what it means to the guys on this defense. I mean, man, you talk to Max? Max, the first one in, last one out. One day I tried to sit in, I said, I got kids, I got to go see that. Max, man, but it means that to him. So, you know what I'm saying? Me having the pleasure to come over here, like I said before, man, I got to give him everything I got. You know what I'm saying? And stuff like that. And doing that with the leadership that we have amongst the whole team. Not just one person, it's amongst the whole team. You see what Pete is building in the right direction, that, I kind of haven't been noticing it because we just been at that level, you know what I'm saying? And I think it's been contagious because it starts with your leadership, and I think every day we've been bringing it.
Last one, guys. I guess how well do you think everybody picked up where you left off from the beginning of the year?
Yeah, I think we picked up well, but right now, you know, it's just you still tying it together. We have Mika put pads on. Yeah, we in an infatuation stage of this thing, man. When the pads come on, then we're gonna really start seeing, you know, what we got. We're gonna start gelling as a team and getting that camaraderie, ready to go to war and ready to hit other teams in the face.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
So what's up? Oh man.
Chip Kelly said he hopes a game this year comes down to a home run derby to determine it. Your reputation has kind of spun around from what happened at Carroll. How much
But yeah, y'all. You know, I think we're gonna cook this season. Everybody poised, everybody ready, everybody still got the same energy as from when they left to now. So, yeah. Everybody needs to show up. I think everybody will show up, though. Law Dog, for real, for real. Dope, yes, man. Yeah, I told y'all I'm be giving y'all the scoop, and I don't know why I didn't look on what's the name with it. It's so many more. We gonna touch into some more interviews. I mean pressers. So we're gonna go over the Brock Bowers presser. We're gonna go over you know, all the Pete Carroll pressers and the every presser on there. I just found a lot more. So we're gonna go, and if they add some more on there, we'll do those too. So but I just appreciate everybody pulling up. My last little thoughts on this is that I think we're gonna be straight. I think, like I said, 10-7, we sneak into the playoffs. You know, get that little last wild card, and you know, do our thing. Like that's just, you know, my opinion, my feeling. I like where we headed. I like what we gonna do, and it sounds to me like everybody's can't wait to put on the pads because that's what everybody keeps talking about. You know what I'm saying? All Dog City right here, August 7th. Yes, sir. Beware or be square. You feel me? 8 p.m. You heard me? I don't know if I'll be live, but I will be doing a recap after the game. So y'all stay tuned. I'll probably be. You know what? I might be live before the game starts, and then, you know, I'll do that. So also interview with the Violator August 26th. Y'all make sure y'all tune in, man. Everybody get your comments and your questions, or get your questions in the comments. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, we're gonna have a blast. You feel me? So, like I said, I appreciate everybody pulling up and stuff, man. With that being said, y'all know what it is. Your Raiders, and I'm out. G-Fam says, salute Raider Nation family. Raiders, yes sir. Everybody throwing in the Raiders now. or they'll say Raiders. Oh man, I'll holler at y'all, bro. Y'all have a good one. Like I said, tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, definitely be doing all the pressers. So, and giving them opinions and stuff like that. So, y'all make sure y'all tune in. You feel me? So, peace, and we out.